The market on Velora Prime was a living, breathing creature. It pulsed with alien voices, flashing lights, and the smell of 100 different foods. Ships came and went in the docks overhead, flashing like stars in fast motion. Kira Solon weaved through the crowd, her small translator pinned to her jacket. She clutched a small tablet to her chest, glancing around nervously. She was far from home, just one young ambassador from a small blue planet most species barely respected. "Stay low, stay smart," she muttered to herself. Kira had been on Velora Prime for 6 months now, trying to make connections, trying to prove that Earth deserved a place among the great powers of the galaxy. It was hard work. Most of the time, she was ignored. Sometimes, she was laughed at. Today was different. Today she had heard something. It had come in the form of a whisper from a Lythari merchant, a tall creature made of shifting smoke and thin bone. He had leaned down, his voice like the rustling of paper. "One of yours taken, Syrinx Labs." Kira had tried to get more, but the merchant had faded into the crowd. One of hers? A human? Here, her mind raced. Earth was supposed to be under protection. No human should be here unless they had full diplomatic clearance. And the Syrinx Dominion, Kira's stomach tightened. They were not known for kindness. They believed in strength. They believed in domination. If they had a human, it could only mean one thing: experiments. Kira walked faster now, pushing through a group of traders arguing over cargo rights. She needed a plan. She needed it fast. As she moved toward the administrative sector, she pulled up her wrist communicator. A message flashed from Ambassador Greaves, her supervisor back on Earth's council. "Kira, no unauthorized actions. Observe only. Report back." Kira frowned. She knew the rules. She knew the risks. But if someone was suffering right now, hidden away in a Syrinx lab, did she really have the luxury of waiting? She thought of her brother back home, playing with his model rockets. She thought of her mother smiling proudly when she left for space. No, she couldn't leave a human behind. Not if there was a chance to help. She closed the message without replying. Kira ducked into a quiet alley, where service bots whirred past with cleaning supplies. Pulling her jacket tighter around her, she mapped the location in her mind. The Syrinx Dominion kept a research facility near Dock 17, marked as restricted access. If she could just get inside. If she could just find the human. Kira exhaled slowly. Her heart was pounding. Her mind was screaming at her to turn back. But her feet kept moving forward. Somewhere deep inside, Kira Solon knew this decision would change everything. The night side of Velora Prime was different from the bright, noisy market. It was quieter, colder. Long shadows stretched across the metal walkways. Neon signs buzzed weakly overhead, lighting the empty streets in sickly colors. Kira moved carefully toward Dock 17. She kept to the shadows, her heart hammering in her chest. Every few steps, she checked behind her to make sure she wasn't being followed. At the edge of the docking area, she found the Syrinx lab. It was a tall, square building with no windows and only one entrance, guarded by 2 Syrinx soldiers. They were huge, with scaled armor and sharp weapons at their sides. Kira ducked behind a supply crate and studied them. She needed a distraction. She glanced around and spotted a small maintenance bot rolling by, carrying a tray of broken tools. An idea sparked in her mind. She picked up a small rock and threw it hard, hitting the bot squarely. The bot let out a loud alarm and spun out of control, crashing into a tower of crates near the soldiers. The guard shouted and rushed over to stop the chaos. Kira sprinted toward the door. Her fingers shook as she hacked the control panel, using a stolen access code she had found weeks ago in a forgotten server. The door hissed open just enough for her to slip inside. The lab was even colder inside. It smelled like chemicals and metal. The halls were silent, except for the hum of machines. Kira moved quickly but carefully, checking each room she passed. Most were empty, filled only with strange equipment and blinking screens. Finally she found a door labeled Specimen Holding. Her breath caught. This had to be it. She forced the door open and stepped inside. There, behind a clear energy field, was a human man. He was strapped to a chair, wires attached to his arms and temples. His clothes were torn, and his face was bruised, but he was alive. His eyes flickered open when he saw her. "Who?" he croaked. "I'm Kira Solon. I'm here to get you out," she whispered. The man tried to nod but winced in pain. Kira hurried to the control panel. She had no idea how to disable Cyric's tech, but guessed at the commands based on symbols she recognized. After a few tense seconds, the energy field flickered and dropped. The man slumped forward. Kira rushed to him and unstrapped the bindings. "Can you walk?" she asked. He nodded weakly. "Name's Eli Brandt. Earth Science Corps. You're safe now," Kira said, throwing his arm over her shoulders. They moved fast, every step an effort. The alarm hadn't been triggered yet, but Kira knew it was only a matter of time. As they slipped through the halls, Kira heard footsteps behind them. The Cyrix guards were returning. "No time," she whispered. "Hold on." She found an emergency exit door and slammed her hand on the panel. A blaring alarm sounded as the door burst open. Cool night air hit her face as they stumbled out into the loading zone. Kira spotted a small cargo shuttle nearby, its engines idle. Without thinking, she dragged Eli toward it. The door was unlocked, and she shoved him inside. "Hang on," she shouted, as she jumped into the pilot's seat. She had only basic training, but that would have to be enough. Her fingers flew over the controls, and the shuttle roared to life. As the guards burst through the exit behind them, Kira punched the thrusters. The shuttle shot up into the starry sky, leaving Velora Prime's surface shrinking below. Eli coughed weakly beside her. "You didn't have to do this," he said, voice rough. Kira kept her eyes on the flight path, heart pounding. "Yes, I did." Neither of them knew yet what their escape would cost. The small shuttle drifted into one of Velora Prime's outer docks. Kira set it down roughly, scraping the landing gear. She powered off the engines and helped Eli out of the seat. "You'll be okay," she said, more to herself than him. Eli nodded weakly. His skin was pale, and sweat clung to his forehead, but he managed a small smile. Kira quickly sent a coded message to the Earth Embassy on Velora Prime. "Rescued asset. Immediate medical needed." Within minutes, a small team arrived, a mix of human medics and robotic aides. They loaded Eli onto a hover stretcher and rushed him toward a secure medical bay. Kira stayed behind, heart still racing. She knew she should feel relief. She had saved him. She had done the right thing. But all she felt was fear. Her communicator buzzed sharply. A message from the Galactic Council Command. "Urgent meeting. Immediate attendance required." Kira swallowed hard. She knew this wasn't a good sign. The council chamber was vast and cold, shaped like a giant circle. Representatives from dozens of planets filled the seats, strange, colorful beings in elegant robes or armored suits. Above them floated holograms of their homeworlds. Kira stood alone in the center, feeling very small. Counselor Nethra, a tall being with shimmering green skin, spoke first. "Kira Solon of Earth," Nethra said, voice calm but firm. "You are accused of unauthorized action against the Cyrix Dominion. Do you accept these charges?" Kira straightened her shoulders. "I accept that I rescued a fellow human being from illegal captivity. I do not regret my actions." A murmur ran through the crowd. Counselor Nethra continued. "The Cyrix Dominion has filed an official protest. They demand compensation, or retaliation, from the Cyrix delegation." Admiral Vrekthol stepped forward. His scaled face twisted into a cruel smile. "You have broken sacred law," he hissed. "Earth must answer." Kira clenched her fists. They were experimenting on him. Counselor Nethra raised a hand to silence her. "Be that as it may," Nethra said, "our laws are clear. You invoked the ancient code of protection. Eli Brandt, you have obligated your planet to defend him, by force if necessary. The words hit Kira like a blow. She knew about the code. It was a law from long ago meant to protect the weak. If someone saved a life unjustly threatened, their entire homeworld had to stand behind them, even if it meant war. Earth had no real army in space, no fleets like the Syrinx. They weren't ready for this. Kira's voice shook as she spoke. There must be another way. Mediation. Negotiation. Vrekthol laughed. A low, harsh sound. No blood has been spilled. Earth must pay, or fight. Counselor Nethra's expression was sorrowful. You have one solar cycle, one day to prepare Earth's defense or secure a peaceful solution. The council chambers dimmed as the meeting ended. Kira stood frozen, heart pounding in her ears. She had saved a life, and now she might have doomed her entire planet. Kira left the council chambers with heavy steps. The cold metal floors seemed to stretch endlessly before her. Every diplomat and alien official she passed turned to watch her. Some looked curious, some looked afraid. She didn't blame them. One day, that's all she had. She rushed back to the Earth Embassy, a small gray building tucked between grand towers of alien nations. Inside, the staff was already buzzing with panic. Messages flashed across every screen. Urgent communications from Earth, updates from the Galactic Alliance, warnings from Valora Prime Security. Ambassador Greaves met her at the entrance. His sharp face was red with anger. "What were you thinking, Kira?" he snapped. "I was thinking about saving a human life," Kira replied, trying to keep her voice calm. Greaves rubbed his forehead. "You have no idea what you've done. Earth isn't ready for a war. We don't have the fleets, the weapons, the alliances." "I know," Kira said softly. "That's why I need to fix it." Greaves stared at her for a long moment. Then he sighed. "Do whatever you can. But remember, if we fall into war, millions could die." Kira nodded. The weight of it almost crushed her. She spent the next hours running from meeting to meeting. She spoke to representatives from every nearby world, begging for help, pleading for mediation. She offered technology, trade deals, anything Earth could spare. Some listened politely. Most refused. "The Syrinx are too strong," said the Thranian envoy. "We cannot afford to cross them." "Our neutrality must be preserved," said the Arvik speaker, his insect-like wings twitching nervously. Even those who hated the Syrinx were too scared to act. Kira's hopes sank lower with every closed door. Late that night, she sat alone in the embassy's communication room, staring at the stars beyond the window. Valora Prime's twin moons floated like pale coins in the sky. Her wrist communicator beeped. It was a private message from Dr. Eli Brandt, still recovering in the medical bay. "You did the right thing. No matter what happens." Kira closed her eyes, feeling a tear slip free. She thought about Earth, about the cities and oceans, about children playing in parks, scientists building ships, musicians singing songs. All of it could be lost because of her choice. But deep down, she knew she wouldn't change it. Not for anything. A soft knock at the door pulled her from her thoughts. It was an aide, a young officer from the Earth delegation. "Ma'am," he said quietly. "The Syrinx fleet has moved closer to Earth's sector." Kira stood up, her decision made. If no one would stand with them, they would stand alone. "We need to warn Earth," she said, "and prepare for what's coming." Outside, the stars looked calm and beautiful. But Kira knew war was coming, fast as a comet across the night. Kira woke early. She hadn't really slept, just rested in a chair, staring at the ceiling, listening to the hum of the embassy's life support systems. Today was the day. If she didn't find a way to stop Admiral Vrekthol, Earth would face the full force of the Syrinx Dominion. Kira tightened her jacket around her and stepped into the main briefing room. The Earth team was waiting, tense and silent. Ambassador Greaves gave a small nod. "What's the plan?" he asked. Kira's mind was sharp now, clear in a way fear could not touch. "We expose them," she said. "We show the galaxy the truth about what Syrinx did to Dr. Brandt. Illegal experiments. Breaking galactic law." Greaves frowned. "Evidence?" Kira pulled a small data chip from her pocket. I copied their research files during the rescue, she said. They were experimenting on humans, testing weapons, genetic alterations, all of it forbidden by the Council's core treaties. The ambassador's eyes widened. If we show this, Kira continued, no civilized world can side with Syrinx. They'll have to face political punishment, not just us. There was a long pause. Then Greaves smiled for the first time in days. Do it. Later that afternoon, Kira stood once again before the Galactic Council. The vast hall buzzed with tension. Word had spread fast. The humans had evidence. Admiral Vrek Thul stood proudly at the Syrinx station, his arms crossed, smirking. He didn't believe they had anything strong enough to matter. Kira stepped forward, placing the data chip into the central projector. Images filled the air. Photographs of human captives, genetic experiments, brutal testing procedures, cold, clear records in the Syrinx's own language. The council gasped. Even hardened warriors from distant worlds looked away. Counselor Nethra's voice was sharp. Admiral Thul, how do you explain these crimes? Vrek's smile twisted into a snarl. Lies, fabrications, weaklings afraid of strength. But it was too late. Murmurs rose through the hall. Old alliances cracked and shifted in moments. Several worlds publicly condemned the Syrinx dominion on the spot. The Thranian envoy, who had refused Kira's plea earlier, now stood. The Thranian League withdraws from Syrinx trade agreements, effective immediately. Others followed. Admiral Vrek Thul's eyes blazed with fury. You think this will save you? He growled at Kira, pointing a sharp finger. Earth will burn. You cannot stop what's coming. Kira stood firm. Maybe, but you won't have as many friends to help you. The council erupted into debate as Vrek stormed out. Ambassador Greaves rushed to Kira's side. You did it, he whispered. Kira shook her head. Not yet. She knew Admiral Vrek Thul's pride was wounded, and a wounded predator was even more dangerous. She turned toward the star map projected above the council, showing fleets in motion. The Syrinx warships were already moving, straight toward Earth. The sky above Valora Prime burned red as warning sirens echoed across the station. Kira stood on the main observation deck, staring out at the growing fleet of Syrinx warships. Their dark, sharp hulls reflected the distant sun, looking like a swarm of deadly blades. Ambassador Greaves came up beside her. His face was pale. Earth's defenses are preparing, but we can't match that fleet, he said quietly. Kira nodded. She already knew. Earth had a few cruisers and defense satellites. Good technology, brave crews, but nothing that could stand against the full force of the Syrinx dominion. She touched the glass, watching as more ships dropped out of warp space. Admiral Vrek Thul wasn't waiting for council votes anymore. He wanted to crush Earth quickly, before more allies could gather. Kira turned sharply. We need to buy time. Greaves frowned. How? Kira's mind raced. Challenge him. Force him into a direct confrontation. Not a fleet battle, a personal one. The ambassador blinked. You mean, a meeting, face to face, Kira said. If I can get him to agree to a personal duel or negotiation, even briefly, it will slow his attack. Maybe just long enough for help to arrive. Greaves hesitated, then nodded. It's a long shot. It's all we have. Kira sent the challenge across the galactic communication bands. A simple message. Admiral Vrek Thul, meet me at neutral coordinates. Face me as a warrior if you dare. Hours passed. The tension was unbearable. Finally, a cold reply came. I accept. Prepare to die, little human. Kira smiled grimly. She didn't need to win. She only needed to survive long enough. The meeting took place on a deserted observation platform orbiting Valora Prime. Only Kira, Vrek Thul, and a handful of observers were present. Vrek towered over her, a beast of muscle and armor. His eyes glowed with hatred. You should have stayed silent, he said, voice low and dangerous. Now your world will burn. Kira stood firm. Her voice was steady. Maybe, but even if you destroy us, everyone will know what you did. The galaxy will turn against you. Vrake laughed, a harsh, barking sound. The galaxy fears strength. I will show them why. He lunged. Kira dodged quickly, her small frame moving faster than his heavy armor allowed. She wasn't trying to defeat him, only to stay alive. She kept talking as she moved. You're losing already, she said. Your allies are abandoning you. Your empire is rotting from inside. Vrake roared and struck again, missing by inches. Above them, space shimmered, flashes of ships arriving. Not Cyrix ships, but others. The Thranian League, the Arvix Guardians, even small independent fleets. They had seen the evidence Kira revealed. They had chosen a side. Vrake noticed the ships too, his face twisted in rage. This isn't over, he snarled. With a final growl, he activated his emergency transporter and vanished. The duel was over. Kira collapsed to one knee, gasping for breath. Above her, the new allied fleets turned toward the Cyrix armada. The battle began. Lasers flashed, ships exploded in bursts of light. But this time, Earth was not alone. Hours later, the Cyrix fleet retreated. Bruised, defeated. Kira sat in the Earth Embassy's command center, listening to the reports roll in. Victory. Hard won. Bloody, but real. Ambassador Greaves placed a hand on her shoulder. You did it, Kira. You saved us. She looked up at the stars, her heart heavy. I just bought us a little more time, she whispered. Because peace, she knew, was never permanent. Valora Prime's skyline was calm again. The battle was over, but the scars it left behind were easy to see. Damaged ships floated in repair docks. Smoke drifted from broken towers. Patrol drones buzzed through the air, scanning for threats. Kira Solon stood at the edge of the Earth Embassy's balcony, watching the slow recovery. The war had been avoided, but barely. Earth was safe. For now. Behind her, Ambassador Greaves and a group of senior officers were talking quietly. They were planning new alliances, drafting new treaties. Earth would need stronger ties to survive in this galaxy. Kira had given them that chance. She leaned on the railing, feeling the weight of everything that had happened. The cost of saving one man had almost been the destruction of an entire planet. Would she make the same choice again? She thought about Eli Brandt, alive and recovering now in the medical wing, about the lives that could have been lost if the Cyrix Dominion had attacked Earth without warning. Yes, she would make the same choice. Every time, some things were worth fighting for. A soft voice pulled her from her thoughts. You did a brave thing, said Counselor Nethra, walking up beside her. Kira turned, surprised. I broke a lot of rules, she said. Nethra smiled gently. Sometimes rules are meant to be broken, especially when they protect something important. They stood in silence for a moment, watching ships move like slow fish across the black sea of space. What happens now? Kira asked. Nethra's expression turned serious. The Cyrix will remember this. They will not forget. But you have shown the galaxy something powerful, that even a small world can make a difference. Kira nodded slowly. She wasn't just representing Earth anymore. She was carrying its future on her shoulders. That evening, a small ceremony was held in the embassy's main hall. Ambassador Greaves stood before a crowd of humans and alien allies. He raised a glass and said, "To Kira Solon, defender of Earth, guardian of our place among the stars." The hall erupted in cheers. Kira blushed but smiled. For once she let herself feel proud. Later, alone, she stood on the observation deck one last time. She watched Valora Prime spin slowly below her. Beyond it, the galaxy stretched endless and wide. Danger still lurked among those stars. So did opportunity. Kira knew the battles ahead would not be easy. But she also knew something else now. Something stronger than fear. Earth was no longer alone. She turned away from the window, her heart steady, and walked forward into the future.